I mean, a top 5 for a sprinter, if it's anywhere between 2nd and 5th, you're just spoken about in not derogatory terms, but almost condolences for your poor result.
It's true. And
well, they're very good results.
And it's the reaction of the sprinters themselves. I mean, we've seen Phillipson looking absolutely forlorn when Gamay won on stage 8, didn't we? Second place for Phillipson. You know,
that's
a great result,
about.
but just not enough.
And I mean, I feel slightly hypocritical sitting here saying, but it is a good result because I know how down on myself I always was if I ran second and how horrible it felt.
So on Crow, who's one of many people's tips potentially to be implanted in a break during
do. It just doesn't want to drop. Down, bro. Love it. Come on, heart rate, bro. I'm about to fucking stop. This is pissing me off. I can't fucking do anything. fucking watts to recover. This is the shit that pisses me the fuck off. Just no fucking recovery. No watts, no recovery. Like, what the fuck? Fucking stop, bro. I'm literally doing nothing. My heart rate just goes up 10 fucking beats. Just looking at it. Fucking over this shit. This is fucking stupid. I literally can't do a single fucking effort without my heart rate just cranking through the fucking roof. There's no recovery. Sure, go up 15 fucking beats. Just by drinking water. This is just absolutely fucking insane. $15 beats, just by what? I'm fucking done, dude. Just keep going up. Please, yeah, just go up to 140. Fucking over this shit. Well, I think I'm dehydrated, so I gotta refill some bottles. Be back in a moment.
during this race. Now just trying to cool off. We saw on the very start of this race, didn't we, as the breakaway itself just starts to fracture. Turgis heading backwards on bike number 3. It's actually the bike from the beginning of the season that he had, and he said it seems to be working very well. It's not worn out because he's been busy. John, something for you. This looks spectacular.
Chateau de Montclérat, which has been a stronghold of the Camargue family since 1336. It has an unfinished barbican that was built around 1600 using ashlar from the local quarry, and it is a slate roof, which I know that Sean will be a fan of, as opposed to a stone roof.
Yes, there we are. I don't know what a barbican is. Is it a bit like a barbecue? Tell me in a moment once we've dealt with this climb. Actually, it's not going to be contested. It's going to be a solitary point for our man Abramson, so you can tell us what a barbican is. I know it's a theatre in London, but anyway.
I mean, that's all I know the barbican as, and I'm going to try and find out what the translation. This is clearly being translated from the French, so there will be a French word which is remarkably similar.
Is it barbecue?
It's definitely not a barbecue. No, it's definitely nothing to do with barbecues. I'm assuming it's a form of building, which I am going to. I will let you know in the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, John. As predicted, a solitary point with his Category 4 test, going the way of Jonas Abramson, who has been the eternal breaker since the very beginning of this race, which is why he shares the points tally with Tadej Pogačar. He's nursing this jersey on behalf of our race leader, because of course you can't wear 2 jerseys, and Tadej is in yellow. Had a little bit of a bump earlier on himself, caught up in a crash of no consequence to him, thank goodness, just chipped a chain, but nonetheless it shows you where your ill fortune can come at any time in this game.
I tell you what's coming at this moment in this game is sprinters are getting in trouble. Dylan Groenewegen just being assisted by one of his teammates who handed him a bidon, but let Dylan Groenewegen just take a sticky bidon off his own teammate. That is great teamwork.
I was going to say, I've never seen that before, and I wonder, Robbie's pointing at himself, he's done it before, but I've never seen it in terms of, you see it from the team car, but not from riders. And I wouldn't, because that is ultimately what, I don't really want to say it, but I feel like I should say it. It's almost like getting a push in a kind of way, but you're allowed to take a bottle off your teammate, and you're allowed to take a bottle from the car, and you're allowed to get, you know, sort of gentleman's agreement. You're allowed to get that from a rider as well, I guess.
Yeah, particularly from your own
teammate.
team. Yeah, I mean, I've had little
Brilliant.
pushes. I've had little
yeah.
pushes from my own team too. Oh, fantastic. And on that note, I'm going to push off, and I'll see you in the breakaway before I get asked any more questions about it. Bye.
Cheers, Robbie. Clickety click. 66 Ks to go. Turgis has been dropped by the break. No surprise, he's kind of done his job today. He's enhanced his points tally, done it well as well. He's currently sitting in 3rd place. He's on 100 after taking 20 points in the intermediate sprint. He is now on 142. So he closes in on Gomet and Philipsen. That was well worth getting up in the breakaway for Adam.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, I think getting up, getting closer, saving his legs here for another day tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be up there kicking around in the sprint at the finish today, but there's another day. There's more points there's more points tomorrow, sorry, on the road before they get to the finish tomorrow, so he might well try again, and he just might be saving his legs for that.
Yeah, well, stage winner, of course. He took the gravel stage from the break, incidentally, on stage 9 ahead of Tom Pidcock, who thankfully a few moments ago we saw looking a little bit happier, I must admit. We were worried about his health, whether there was an illness, a little bit of cold, whatever it was at the beginning of this race. Seems to have now shaken it off. And other riders, I'm afraid, have had to exit the race, as we have seen. Which is a great shame, including significantly for Mark Cavendish. Mikkel Mørkøv, I'm just wondering, Case Ball does drop into that position very well for Mark Cavendish. So, all right, Mikkel Mørkøv is the ultimate, but Case Ball, very, very good. And I would say one of the best lead-out men in the peloton.
He is, yeah. I think, you know, Case Ball was on the team 1 year earlier than Mikkel Mørkøv was. And I think he was in that to help lead out Mark, and he'll have learned a lot from Mørkøv. You know, I think that's the main thing that he'll have learned following him, being in front of him, listening to the instructions of Michael and being able to use that into his own lead-out duties today. I think the main thing for Case Bowl will be to drop Mark Cavendish off. You know, it's not the full-blown lead-out, leading from the front, taking it on. It's for the positioning leading into the final. And, you know, Mark's, what, 5'10", and Case Bowl must be 6'4". Great wheel to follow to get plenty of shelter off it.
Yeah, like a spinnaker. There is confirmation of how it stacks up in the climbers categorization. Equal points for Tadej Pogačar and Abramson, as we mentioned. Yeah, when Mark Cavendish won his historic 35th stage on the Tour de France in Saint-Vulbas, he was actually on his own at that point, but paid great homage to his team for having worked very hard to at least allow him to be in that position to do it on his own. He didn't get a full lead out. He essentially was solo for the last kilometre or so and still won. So although Mikkel Murko is a huge blow, I guess, to him in terms of an out-and-out lead-out, and we're likely to get that as a requirement today, he can do it on his own as well. Welcome back, those of you who have been away. Those who are indeed ad-free are watching on Discovery Plus. Amazing timeline marker service as well for you to enjoy. Don't forget you can catch up at Eurosport Cycling on Instagram and YouTube. And of course at the end of this day we'll have All Out on the Breakaway with all the reviews and the intrigue that indeed will follow this day, as it has done for every single one of our days so far. It's been a brilliant edition of this Tour de France. I can't think of a better one actually, Adam.
No,
Tell
I'm
it
with
all,
you,
hasn't it?
It has, yeah. And we've got plenty more to come.
We certainly have. We're just about to head back to Matt Stevens on the motorbike, as we have had our last points gaining action points. Been through the sprint and of course the last of the day's climbs. However, it's the long reach for home that we are dealing with right now, and it's not exactly flat, is it? No, it's going to waver just a little bit, although our final approach to the line should be an out-and-out sprint for 1.2k. Here's Matt.
Christoph, I saw you just move up to the back of the peloton. What was that for?
Oh, he took ice for all of them because it's getting hot, and they are in the front of the peloton. So when Søren did this, and they all had in one time everything they needed.
You're pretty happy with the status quo? They seem to be really controlling the break pretty strongly.
Oh, but unfortunately we lost Jonas Rickaert because of the crash, so we are not that happy for the moment.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, but what about the finish? It should suit Jasper. What do you know about the final couple of kilometers?
Sorry?
The final couple of kilometers on the stage today, technically.
Oh, technically it's not an issue, I think. A bit turning, but anyway, good for us. And now we lose also Søren, I see, so it's not our best day.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, there we go. That was Philip Rudolph, one of the director sportifs of Alpecin de Koning. Not an easy day for them so far. Losing two riders, Søren Kragh Andersen now out of the back, but he has done a lot of work on the front, and Jonas Rickaert as well was out of the back as part of that crash, but he should finish within the time limit, but a very tough day for him. So a limited resource, or reduced resource, should I say, for Alpecin de Koning in the final. Back to the commentators.
Thank you, Matt. Really interesting. I'm just double checking on where he would have been in the pecking order. Jonas Rickaert would have been third from last, then Vermeersch, and then Mathieu van der Poel, of course. Søren Kragh Andersen is, we've already seen him off the back as well today. So Jasper Philipsen's been busy burning the remainder, I guess, of his team, but I imagine just keeping Vermeersch and of course Mathieu van der Poel in the chamber, getting ready to shoot sprint bullets later on. This man is level on points in the King of the Mountains jersey competition. He's absolutely relentless, Adam, in his desire and his ability to get in the breakaway. He's a monster.
He is a monster, yeah.
Eats kilometres.
We heard from him earlier in the stage on commentary, and he did an interview before the start, and he was saying, I just go as hard as I can every day. And then he said, And I get stronger doing this too. And I remarked to Rob then at the time to say, there's not many people that would look at going a breakaway and said, I'm getting stronger through this. They'd probably say, I'm going to be tired after it. But he's in the break day after day after day after day. He's just an absolute monster. And he's always that person that seems to be glass half full, which I absolutely love about him. You know, very positive, always looks for the goodness in it. And yeah, he's just a joy to watch as well, because he always looks with his position like he's full gas.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, no doubt about it. It's Simon Giska. He's just been, he's on water carrying duties. Looks like he's been to a very strange gym, doesn't he? Developing muscles where they really shouldn't be. There used to be a sort of informal record that was held for the amount of water bottles that you can actually get down your jersey, but of course they're all made of different high-tech materials these days, so hard to compare. But it looks like he's got the whole team 2 bottles each there, Adam. He looked very distended.
He did. I'm sure someone could remind me of the record for the bottles, but I think it was Magnus Backstead that had it. And I think it was
He's
18,
a big lad, so big jersey.
I was going to say, I think it was like 18 bottles, and at the time then, majority of the riders had shorts and jersey. Nowadays, it's the race suits that's all one piece, so it might be a little bit more difficult. But he, I'm sure he's got the record. I'm sure it's 16 or 18 bottles he got down his jersey, which is, yeah, a good 8 kilos. So hopefully he wasn't going uphill at the time either. He's a big boy, Magnus Backstead, never mind with another 8 kilos on top of him.
Absolutely, he's a phenomenal athlete, and of course so are his daughters, we remind you. Yes, really producing some stunning results. May well indeed be part of our Olympic considerations as well. Zoe and Eleanor, amazing riders. 55 seconds only. Tell you something, Adam, Movistar are working for Gaviria today, and that is a lovely thing to see, because he's been so isolated, or having to do things solo, and it looks like they're backing him.
They are backing him, and rightly so. He's had the most successful placing so far of the Movistar riders within the team in this year's Tour de France, and with that he's been consistent, and I think, you know, he deserves the backing of the team. He's, as Robbie was just explaining to us earlier about how he sprints and that gap opening up early for him and how impressive it is. You know, if he can just find that space and just be patient within his sprint and just launch at the right time, he's got a very good chance at winning today's stage. I'd be surprised if he won, but equally at the same time I wouldn't be, because he is such a good sprinter, and he's been knocking about, when you think of it, for the last couple of years. He's always been there or thereabouts. I think Cav, when he won the stage into Rome, I think Gaviria might have been up there. He's just been constantly top 5s, top 10s, top 3s. So yeah, he's a very consistent sprinter. He just needs that win, and it could be today.
Yeah, it could be. You know, he was getting up there, getting top 5s, and certainly a raft of top 10s within the Giro d'Italia, let's not forget. And he carries those legs into the Tour de France, 2nd, a 3rd and a 5th so far. That's not him fading, by the way. That's him actually being there. In fact, I think when he came into Saint-Amand-Montrond, he actually just sat up a little bit. He just didn't, at the very last, knowing that the win wasn't going to go his way. He's also out of contract at the end of this season, is Fernando Gaviria. Somebody's got to sign him up. He's only 29, for goodness sake. He's still got years left in him, if you compare him to the mighty. That's all he is. I know he's been around forever, hasn't he?
Wow, yeah, I thought he was a lot older than that.
Me too. So, there he is. I mean, I imagine after this tour, Movistar might actually reconsider and start backing him. Let's see, and with a contract and the like. Bit of gauze being applied here to Wout van Aert. It's a refreshment of gauze. He was a left arm injury picked up yesterday, Adam.
It was, yeah. He had a nasty cut, and that crash could have been a lot worse for Van Aert. Luckily, he's a very good bike handler and a very capable bike handler. But yeah, just getting assisted to by the doctor there, and yeah, Van Aert, he's an absolute machine, and he's back on the bike today. And interestingly, he had his son there at the start line today and just dancing around with him. So I'm sure that morale. Most of the Visma Lease bike riders seem to have their partner there at most stages today, so it must be something that the team really looks at and thinks, you know what, the morale and the benefit they get from having their family and friends around must make their life easier at the Tour de France, which is quite nice, because it's such a rarity, you know, when a lot of the teams now, they don't want what they say, distractions of your family being there, this, that, and the other, rather than looking at it as a positive and a benefit for them. But Visma Leasebike seems to be one of the teams that are really encouraging the family to be around at, one of the hardest points of their career, when you're on your hands and knees most days and you want to be around your family to be happy. I'm happy to see it. I think it's lovely and a nice thing for the riders to be able to have that comfort of the family there.
I think the mood was probably set by Jonas Vingegaard, who loves having his family around him, very much a family man, first on the phone home. Even if the podium are waiting for him, he's going to offer up his thoughts to his own family, which is a measure of the man. And I think, you can't have that for one rider and then not the rest. So I think everyone else has, maybe it's just set the mood within the team, as you say, different strategies by different teams in terms of how they behave regarding their families and their attendance. Meanwhile, attendance on the front has been shared, all the duties, by Alpecin de Koenig. Now, a little less so, but Sylvain Dillier is more than capable of setting a pace here. It's holding at the moment at 52 seconds, but Movistar are happy to man the pumps here. They want this to be a bunch sprint, in the belief that indeed Gaviria can deliver today. Yuri Team Emirates hovering just behind, and there, as you see, Jonas Vingegaard, who spectacularly yesterday really made an enormous statement by taking the victory, but in the manner of so doing in a sprint after a hugely testing day against Tadej Pogačar. There's a race on properly here. Trees are almost absolutely still, as you can see, and you can also see there are 3 riders up the road. They've been up here for, well, a good deal of the day. Madouas, Pachier and Abramson, 2 from Groupama, and Abramson himself from Uno-X Mobility. And he's not giving up. I mean, this is almost Abramson versus the world.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some company with him, which is very nice, and it's going to help him massively. But yeah, he just always looks, like I said earlier, just always looks like he's giving it 100%. And if you take the turns, how much they've done on the front, the percentage of work they've done, I'm sure he's just done that little bit more, which again, he's been in so many breaks, he's been so strong, he's led over the top of the climbs, probably increased the pace ever so slightly. We saw that day not just in a breakaway, but solo breakaway on his own for, what, 180 kilometres, 170 kilometres, whatever it was. He's just a machine, and a man that doesn't ever seem or look like he's getting tired.
We were worried about Jonas Vingegaard, of course, from his crash in the Basque Country. We were also worried about Wout van Aert after Voie d'Or, and the injuries keep coming his way, it seems. But the way that Jonas Vingegaard rode yesterday, and the sensible manner with which he's approached every single one of the pressure situations that he's been involved with, Jonas Vingegaard is unflustered. He is the most solid, difficult to read. Goodness only knows what will happen if he turns his hand to poker or something of that nature. He is unfathomable, but also unshakable from his own direction, and he seems very comfortable in that regard. The emotions poured out of him yesterday, though, Adam, but no surprise after that comeback, essentially. He spoke very emotionally about it.
He did, and I don't think we'll ever understand. We can try to comprehend it ourselves in terms of what that must have been like for him, but the man was unsure if he'd be able to ever race a bike again. I think that's the weight of that resting on your shoulders, and what it means to you, and how much he loves racing his bike. I think that would have been a very, very heavy weight to carry along with you for such an amount of time, and then just being able to get back on his bike and then refocus to set his sights on the Tour de France. That's another thing. Starting the Tour de France is another thing, and already a great success, but then being able to win a stage in the way that he did it's just remarkable where that man was 9 weeks ago to where he is now. I mean, it's
9 weeks is nothing, is it?
Yeah, it's really hard to explain, because it's just absolutely crazy. People train for this Tour de France from October last year, November, all the preparation, the altitude camps, and Jonas did all that. But then he got held back by that awful crash that he had, but he's back where he is now. He's just unbelievable, an unbelievable athlete.
Just dealing with a rather fetching-looking quarry, I must admit. I don't know if you've got any notes on it, John, before somebody digs out a victory today.
No. I'm looking through my book going, how on earth can there not be any notes about a quarry that they linger on for that length of time? And no, there aren't any.
I think you just found one and thought, interesting puddle.
I don't believe that for a second.
No, me either. I thought it was significant. Sorry to have dropped you in it.
Essentially, I think it's Fumel, which was the quarry outside, which is where the iron and steel industry is based. But actual notes on the quarry itself, nada.
Mathieu Verchères, presumably on somebody else's bike, or indeed one of his own spares after 11 went missing, I'm afraid, stolen from Total Energies. Apparently, if you're listening in, the person who stole them, or gang, they're fully marked up. They've got all kinds of other codes hidden within the frame as well, so they're identifiable. As Anthony Turgis says, I don't know what they're going to do with them, because they're very hard to move on. I don't know, maybe you'll get a very slick TT team or indeed climbing team at club level suddenly appearing on your radar. Check those bikes out carefully. We want them back, or Total Energies certainly do. Just over 50 kilometres remaining today. The peloton are only 39 seconds in abeyance at the moment. Verchères, who's just had an exchange of his bike, or indeed back wheel, is now getting back in. Let's speak to Dylan Groenewegen, shall we?
Today, but a really hard first part of the stage. What do you expect from the gun of today's stage?
I don't know what I can expect from today, so yeah, what I want to say is it's like 50-50. It can be a sprint, but can be also break or harder stage. Yeah, normally stage 16 look better for me. It's more flat, but yeah, today there's also a chance, and yeah, we need to see what happens today.
It was for sure a really tough stage yesterday for all of you guys. How are you feeling after yesterday, Dylan?
Oh yeah, yesterday was a beautiful stage, but yeah, also a really hard stage. I think for the front, but also the guys in the gruppetto was a hard day. But I think I recovered really well and feeling okay for today.
Alpecin showed the other day they got their lead out perfect. It looks hard to beat Philipsen if he gets that lead out. Do you agree on that?
I got already 3 times and he won 1 time, so yeah, it's possible to beat him. We have also our plan really clear, and yeah, we go for that.
What is the plan?
To give a good lead out and have a sprint.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Simple as. Did it on stage 6 into Dijon. Says it's not ideal for him today. He has a problem with positioning. It may well be, Adam, that this 1.2 kilometre drag race from the final corner, so a highway finish, suits him absolutely down to the ground. Do not discount Dylan Groenewegen.
No, you can never discount. We've seen how quick Dylan is when he gets that space. We saw that when he won the stage, and that's all he needs is that space, the positioning to drop him off in the right place. And if he's got the legs, you know, Dylan is as fast as Philipsen, and he just needs the space to be able to do so and everything to go right for him. We have seen him at the back today and suffering a little bit on the climbs, which is normal after the day he had yesterday, but yeah, he looks like he's feeling it. And interestingly, Michael Matthews for the past 50-60k or so has been sat about 20th wheel right towards the front. He's not gone back to Dylan, he's just stayed right up there. And Michael on his day, we know that he performs well when it's a hard stage or there's been a hard stage, but he has stayed right towards the front so far as well. So maybe plan A, Dylan if you're not feeling good, plan B, Michael, and Michael might be just trying to do everything he can to, you know, give that plan B the best shot if it comes around to it.
I was actually hoping that Michael Matthews would be in the break today. I kind of thought with the early skirmishes, he might indeed have a chance of holding on for that, but clearly more than important for Dylan Groenewegen, who wants to take a second stage win after winning into Dijon on stage 6. Here is the big team, Adam.
It's a big team indeed as well, and they did a big old job yesterday, didn't they? I mean, the controlling of the breakaway at the start yesterday was unbelievable. I thought they'd let it play out and just ride the race for the GC, but they wanted to go for the stage win, and they really had to do a job to make sure that breakaway went, and then to hold the break and then deliver that man into the best place where he thought was best to attack. And sadly, it didn't work out for them. And I mean, they didn't get the stage win, and he only lost 1 second. So it's not really a bad day for them whatsoever. But I think
there were questions, though, weren't there, Adam?
I was going to say, yeah. I think there's a few questions asked, and maybe they're reassessing things. It might have been the best thing that's happened to them, really, knowing that Jonas Vingegaard could be going a lot better than what they expected him to be. Or maybe Tadej. Well, yeah, that Vingegaard is not on a worse level than he is. So yeah, it could be a blessing in disguise for them. You know, silver lining that Jonas is right on top form and he's going to bring that fight to them. So they might readjust slightly now coming into the stages that are to come, because we've got some big ones.
We certainly have. I mean, how do you think they'll adjust their strategy potentially now that they regard Jonas as more of a danger when we get to the high ground?
I think concentrate on Nice. I think that's the main thing, you know, get to Nice in that yellow jersey, that's priority. I think stage wins now, they'll come if they present themselves, but the other teams might want that to happen, you know, push the pace a little bit harder, take control. But I think they need not to worry about stage wins necessarily and just concentrate on the time gaps in the GC battle and not use the team to control the breakaway, etc., like they did yesterday, because I feel if they try to do that again and again and again, it's going to really catch up with them and make it very, very difficult for them as well.
He made some amazing gains when it came to descending. I'm just looking, there are no downhill runs home remaining for Tadej Pogačar. So it's going to be, and there are plenty of uphill finales. That really plays into the hands of Jonas Vingegaard, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, Jonas's terrain is coming up. What we know him to be better at, we heard Tadej Pogačar say he's been really training for those longer climbs and in the Pyrenees that we've got coming up, that it should suit him a little bit better. And we know that Jonas's characteristics from what we've seen in the past suit those climbs as well. So it is going to be an interesting one, and I think yesterday got us all very, very excited. The performance of Jonas Vingegaard, the performance of Tadej Pogačar as well. We were so used to the Giro, the way he performed, that I was personally thinking as soon as Tadej goes, you know, that's it. And then to see him brought back yesterday, it's sort of like, right, race on, clapping your hands, rubbing them together. We've got a proper battle to go on here, and it's like it was last year, but just with a few different answers and questions to be had, with Tadej doing the Giro, how he's going to perform, and Jonas Vingegaard, what we think he's getting better throughout this Tour de France. So we are going to have one heck of a last week coming up, that's for sure.
We certainly are. John, we've got to hear about this.
So we have been meandering along, and this is Bonaguil Chateau. This was another one begun back in the 13th century this way, and then completely rebuilt by the end of the 15th century by the Bérengers de Roquefort. Made it very much more harder to attack, and as you can see there, it was actually built on a nice little rocky outcrop, and I think it would have been quite hard other than siege to get in there by the looks of things. Apart from the loss of its roof timbers during the French Revolution, it remained in a very good state of repair and is still possible to visit today. A fine example of 15th century architecture.
By the way, when you have stone block, and I think that was the quarry we went to, when they say rebuilt, they literally just take the blocks down, a bit like Lego, and then put them all back together again. So there you go, in the shape that you want.
Yeah, I was also going to say a barbican is a gateway on the entrance to a fortress or chateau.
Well, there you go, a gateway. Well, the doors are open, and Rob Hatch is about to rejoin us and take us to, I don't know whether it'll be 36, but you just never know, Rob.
You never know indeed. It's cooking up, isn't it? Thanks, Carlton. A whole host of different riders in the mix today. None of whom seem to be in the breakaway, though, Sean. We've known that for a while now.
Well, what a difficult day it's been once again here, and for this breakaway, you know, they have done a real big ride here, but again, not good enough against the big peloton, with teams wanting to control.
Abrahamsen rides on. It's the only way he knows. sun shining after a cloudy start, the odd storms and problems. The last little bit, we just saw a few fights for the front of the peloton. We say goodbye to Adam, who's off to get in the breakaway, and he's got to be quick today because they are moving at such a fast pace. I was just checking on the time schedules, and they are around 5 to even 10 minutes quicker now than the fastest time schedule predicted by the organisers, and a real change at the front of the peloton just as they start to get a whiff of the breakaway ahead in front of them. There is Soudal Quickstep.
Just in the up and down section, just take a good position, you never know. Breakaway is close. Was already a hard day today. Maybe some other riders maybe try to jump, you never know. 50.
And it seems as though teams are expecting the unexpected now.
Well, you have to be on guard, but it's going to be a difficult one for a breakaway to form. But we're getting into that terrain now where it gets a bit lumpier again. You know, around 35 to go. We have a little bit of a non-categorized climb, and then it's up and down quite a bit. So it is part of the parcours where you could see some attacks, but the way the peloton is going along at the rate they're going all day, it's going to be a real difficult to see anyone getting away, because the other teams that have not contributed from the sprint teams, they will also start to start sniffing around, as we say, in the front of the peloton and be there. So I think it looks very much on for a big bunch sprint between the fast men here today.
Into the département du Lot-et-Garonne, 47. The river flowing fast. Peloton beating them at the moment. A few lumps and bumps on the way. It's not completely flat on the way in. There's Tratnik on the left-hand side. Some more food for Kwiatkowski. Energy consuming as it all is. Here's the latest lump. Certainly gets a little more tricky in the final. Just under 40 kilometres now than what it has been for the last 20 Ks. Falls flat downhill. It's just been knocking along really, really quickly. You just wonder, we're getting to that stage where stages aren't quite running out yet, but if there's an opportunity, people will be ready to take it. This is Søren Varnetsholt. Just not enjoying the moment.
Well, he has been giving out the tickets for the Gruppetto for a long time here today.
The conductor.
And we also see the man from Red Bull there. His name is Nico Dents. He's been on the rear there, throwing a lot of shapes, trying to stay on the end.
A very warm welcome back to you viewers of stage 12 of this Tour de France. The longest remaining stage, the only 200+ kilometre stage. Today it was billed as breakaway versus sprinters. The break is still, well, has been hanging out there. Haven't seen the front for a while. I get a suggestion that it might have just been caught. We're all back together and we are heading for a bunch sprint. Château de Fumel is beside the river. Look at that, they've gone for the jerseys there. Absolutely beautiful. Here's Varnetsholt. 40 Ks to go. The bus conductor, as Sean was just calling him to our digital platform viewers. Matt Stevens called it a roller coaster. A few little dips there. Not quite at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, though, are they? This is Saint-Antoine in the middle of Fumel. Beautifully constructed. Looks very nice down there, John.
Yeah, absolutely stunning church there, the L'Église Saint-Antoine. That was built based on the plans by the man who was responsible for the development of Agen, Verdier. And we just saw the beautiful chateau of Fumel just a few moments earlier, which It's another stunning chateau on the route that we've gone through so far. We've seen so many of these beautiful ones, but it has a really, really beautiful outdoor theatre there, where they get some of the biggest names in French theatre and cinema over the years have come down to be part of the Bonaguille Festival, and that continues today.
Thanks, Jono. Always the man with the knowledge. And we must stress as well the love for this land. Not all of it's pretty. There's industrial heritage there as well, which has its own delights. Of course, so says the man who was born in Northern England. Got to appreciate everything. Reminded by who's going to offend half of you now. Thankfully, I don't take offence, but he says it's grim up north. You wouldn't guess that he's from the Shires. And won't be leaving for a while now. His words, not mine. As UAE Emirates left-hand side, Marc Soler, that Catalan rider for Tadej Pogacar, who sits fourth wheel. Yellow jersey on his back. Yesterday, of course, he lost a single second, but it was the confidence and the momentum more than the second that was won by Jonas Vingegaard yesterday. Emotional moments with that victory. Terrific performance he produced, and now the belief that he can win. We're heading to his terrain. For now, though, it seems the domain of the sprinters. In fact, the bookmakers' odds changed overnight, Sean. They now favour the Dane.
Well, not surprising after that ride yesterday that he done, and you know, the way he made that comeback in the final and closed down on Tadej Pogacar. And yeah, we were all talking, and all the forecasts were that he would be good in the third week, but I think it was a surprise to a lot of people, and certainly to me. I was, you know, amazed at that performance by him yesterday. And the question is now, you know, the two big favourites, and we know who they are, Pogacar and Vingegaard. Yesterday we see again. It will be a real interesting one as we get into the real difficult part of the weekend, where we're going into the big mountains. That's where we will see a clearer picture again. And let's not forget, Pogacar, he's after doing a Giro. Will that have effect on him as we go further into this race? Will Vingegaard get better? Because sometimes when you're having a lot of competition, a lot of time to prepare for a big 3-weeker, it can catch you out in the end, meaning the third week of the race, or as you get into the third week. So all that questions are still out there, and the terrain as well. You know, you have to put the questions there, because this terrain, it is going to be a really brutal final week of racing, and yeah, it's all to fight for between the big two, and maybe the guys further down the general classification, you never know, they could come better, and the two main men could start to suffer a bit. So it could all change, and it might not be the two men at really fighting out at the moment. We could be winning this tour.
Fascinating. It is beautifully balanced. Talked about those stages at the weekend. Saint-Lary-Soulan, Pla d'Adet, 4,000 metres of climbing in the first of 4 summit finishes. That's on Saturday. And then Plateau de Bay on Sunday. 4,900 metres of climbing on 14 Juillet, Bastille Day. That's a call out there to all the French to be up the road. Let's see what happens. For now, 36 k's to go, 41 kilometres per hour here. Starting to go uphill again. We've seen the GC teams coming to fight it out. They've got to stay safe today, and well, as part of the experiments we've been talking about, Sean, it's a change today and tomorrow, isn't it? It's the last 2 days of the safe zone experiments. We've got a 5-kilometre safe zone today. If there's any incident or accident, then everyone gets the same time, and tomorrow the same, 5 k's.
Yes, of course, we did talk about that yesterday. With all what's going on, I forgot about the
you weren't the only one, don't worry.
And I had looked at it early in the day, actually, but I was so shocked with what was going on in the race.
Legs, you know, Dylan is as fast as Phillips, and he just needs the space to be able to do so and everything to go right for him. We have seen him at the back today and suffering a little bit on the climbs, which is normal after the day he had yesterday, but yeah, he looks like he's feeling it. And interestingly, Michael Matthews, for the past 50-60k or so, has been sat about 20th wheel right towards the front. He's not gone back to Dylan, he's just stayed right up there. And Michael, on his day, we know that he performs well when it's a hard stage or there's been a hard stage, but he has stayed right towards the front so far as well. So maybe plan A, Dylan, if you're not feeling good. Plan B, Michael, and Michael might be just trying to do everything he can to, you know, give that plan B the best shot if it comes around to it.
I was actually hoping that Michael Matthews would be in the break today. I kind of thought with the early skirmishes, he might indeed have a chance of holding on for that, but clearly more than important for Dylan Groenewegen, who wants to take a second stage win after winning into Dijon on stage 6. Here is the big team, Adam.
It's a big team indeed as well, and they did a big old job yesterday, didn't they? I mean, the controlling of the breakaway at the start yesterday was unbelievable. I thought they'd let it play out and just ride the race for the GC, but they wanted to go for the stage win, and they really had to do a job to make sure that breakaway went, and then to hold the break and then deliver that man into the best place where he thought was best to attack. And sadly, it didn't work out for them. And I mean, they didn't get the stage win, and he only lost 1 second, so it's not really a bad day for them whatsoever. But I think
there were questions though, weren't there, Adam?
I was going to say, yeah, I think there's a few questions asked, and maybe they're reassessing things. It might have been the best thing that's happened to them, really, knowing that Jonas Vingegaard could be going a lot better than what they expected him to be, or maybe Tadej. Oh yeah, that Vingegaard is not on a worse level than he is. So yeah, it could be a blessing in disguise for them, you know, silver lining that Jonas is right on top form and he's going to bring that fight to them. So they might readjust slightly now coming into the stages that are to come, because we've got some big ones.
We certainly have. I mean, how do you think they'll adjust their strategy potentially now that they regard Jonas as more of a danger when we get to the high ground?
I think concentrate on Nice. I think that's the main thing, you know, get to Nice in that yellow jersey. That's priority. I think stage wins now, they'll come if they present themselves, but the other teams might want that to happen, you know, push the pace a little bit harder, take control. But I think they need not to worry about stage wins necessarily, and just concentrate on the time gaps in the GC battle, and not use the team to control the breakaway, etc., like they did yesterday. Because I feel if they try to do that again and again, it's
so 7
really
efforts,
and make it very
30 minutes. So it was what, like
he made some amazing gains
like
when it came to
3-4 minute blocks, and then
looking,
efforts in between.
There are no downhill runs home remaining for Tadej.
That was good.
So it's going to be, and there are plenty of uphill finales. That really plays into the hands of Jonas Vingegaard, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, Jonas's terrain.
All right,
is
what do we got tomorrow?
What we know him to be better at. We heard Tadej Pogačar say he's been really training for those longer climbs and in the Pyrenees.
This is a 9-hour a week.
Suit him a little bit better, and we know that Jonas's characteristics from what
So
we've seen
tomorrow.
those climbs.
All right, not bad.
It is going to be an interesting
Okay.
one, I think yesterday.
All right, 91 TSS. That's a brutal one. 53. Okay.
The Giro, the way he performed, that I would personally think as soon as Tadej goes, you know, that's it. And then to see him roll that yesterday,
3-minute blocks.
it's sort of like, right,
They get longer, so you got 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. Brutal.
It's like it was last year.
Oh. All right. Gotta eat. See you guys.
To be had with Tadej doing the Giro, how he's going to perform, and Jonas Vingegaard, what we think he's getting better throughout this Tour de France. So we are going to have one heck of a last week coming up, that's for sure.